Welcome to The Nation. I'm Jessy Chahal. Malaysia has several landfills scattered across the country to manage its waste. However, the management and sustainability of these landfills have been a growing concern for the country. It was reported that our landfills are filling to capacity. Apparently, we might be out of space for the disposal of solid waste by the year 2050. The question is, though, how do we manage waste moving forward? More importantly, how aware are all stakeholders at this point? To help us understand the current situation, I'm joined by KALTHUM SHUIB, Director of Federal Territory of SWCorp, and RAMAN KUTTY, former Head of Communications, Flora. Welcome. Thank you to the program, and it's, I believe, going to be an interesting conversation in how we manage our waste. Let me get right into it. Perhaps I can start with you, Umi. What is the current situation of landfill in Malaysia right now? And is it really true as to what I just said about us running out of capacity, as worrying as that sounds?
It's a bit worrying statement from you, yeah, but as for the information for everyone, there are about 311 landfills in Malaysia, but 137 are still operating in Malaysia, and there are about 174 has been closed. So you see the percentage out of the 311, more than half of it has been closed. So that means something need to be done, because when the landfill been closed, we need years to treat it and making sure it can be used again in the future. And then
when you say years, how long?
Years, how long? For 30 years to monitor, and we do not know how long that it can generate the leachate from the treatment from the landfill, because the leachate will still come out from the soil, and we have to treat the leachate, so it's costly for the government, so it's quite dangerous also for the health of the people. And for the current situation right now, that is the numbers, by the numbers which are closed and or still open. As for Kuala Lumpur does not have a landfill. Yeah, we does not have a landfill. We are actually sending our waste to Bukit Taga, which is in Selangor. Yeah, also for Putrajaya, there's no landfill there, so they're sending it to Tanjung 12 in Dengkil.
Ravi, in terms of sharing this with the masses, what is the communication that's really needed in terms of bringing up the red flag to say, hey, look, we have a problem?
I think it has to start from the womb, because we Malaysians have this tendency of taking waste very lightly, and the situation is precarious. By 2050, yes, there won't be any more land for us to invest upon to build landfills. So I think every Malaysian must come to their sense in ensuring that their children, I wouldn't want to focus on the elderly Malaysians, not that I've given up with them. I feel the young ones are the focus, where we must make sure they know what is recycling, what is reduce, what is reuse, number one. Number two, they must also understand the importance of waste to energy, because we have been doing this archaic method of waste management, whereby we collect the waste, put it onto the compactor takes it to the nearest landfill or to the transfer station if there is any, and then from there we put them all together and take you to the landfill. I think this method has to move up to WTE, because WTE is the future, and every other country is already doing it. For example, our nearest neighbor, which is Singapore, we too have some incinerators in some islands in Malaysia. The lessons learned from the exercises were not very encouraging. However, I think the way forward is WTE 2, and number 3 is teaching a child on why we should be careful with waste.
Okay.
Right.
Umi, you want to say something at this point, because my question was going to be, what seems to be the gap in terms of technology implementation? This is something we've been talking about time and time again, yet nothing much is being done about it.
We can see the gap. If we compare to Singapore, they are very advanced in everything. They have this WTE, a big one. We have only 4 incinerators, and the 4 incinerators is under my supervision, SWCorp Wilayah Persatuan supervision. So one of it in Pangkor is under SWCorp Wilayah Persatuan, and the other state are taking care of those one in Cameron Highland, another one in Tioman, and the other one is in Pangkor.
Why are they so far away?
Island. islands.
Yeah, because they're islands, so they want to test the technology in the islands. That's the main thing, because people are so scared when they heard that we are going to build incinerator.
We're still at the phase of testing it in that aspect. There is nothing that is up and running per se.
They are running.
They're running.
Running. Meaning that we want to make sure that the Malaysians are exposed to the technologies, and they are very scared nowadays. If we want to build it in the peninsula, we will, for example, in Japan, it's being built beside the school, beside the house, but they do not want it to be built something like that in Malaysia, in Peninsula Malaysia. So that's why we move out, because we have to settle the problem of waste at the island also, because we doesn't want them to bring the waste to the mainland. So the mainland become a dump site. We do not want that.
So there seems to be two areas of concern here. One is the amount of waste that's coming to landfills, generated, and then the other is the fact of, or rather, how fast and how efficiently are we processing this, disposing that, and turning it from waste to energy.
Right.
What would you say would be the immediate solutions available to make this entire process, from sort of start to end, if you would, a sustainable disposable system?
If I may, I think, Jessy, the most important thing is, number one is education, number two is enforcement, and if these two things are in place, because as it is in our country, we are facing this new, the gig economy. The gig economy is about everything packaged, packed. Now you don't have to even go to restaurants. The food comes to your house. One. So lifestyle have changed. I mean, husband and wife are working, so they don't have the time to come back and cook and all that. Like for instance, the Bazaar Ramadan that's going on now, it's so convenient. Go there, buy, come home, eat and throw. And so we throw everything, plus the packaging. And we are generating a very high level of waste in this country, very high. I'm sure Puan will give the exact stats.
Puan, if I could just jump to you, what exactly is the kind of waste that we are producing at this point, and what are the challenges really faced by the country?
By the country, okay. The kind of waste, the composition of waste in Malaysia is the highest one is food waste. It is about 44.5%, and for a day we actually produce in Malaysia about 38,000 ton. So you have to times it with 1,000 kilograms. So it's about 38 million kilograms. So that's how much that we are producing in a day in Malaysia. As for Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya, it's about 2,400 ton per day. And for each of us, we have an average for our people. So it is about 1.17 kilogram per person per day. So that's high, quite high. So we have to do something about this. And then education, as being said by Mr. Ravi, is the most important thing. And for SWCorp Wilayah Persatuan, that is the most challenging thing. To educate, to do promotion, that's the most challenging thing. Because in education, we have like module for Kita Semula for all the school in Malaysia. But not all schools actually want to compete into our competition, yearly national competition for recycling. We need all the school to come and enter, because we want to change the people, we want to change the children.
You want to change the habits as well. But let me stop you here. Is there enough, or has there been previously as well, enough infrastructure to encourage this kind of better behavior in terms of waste disposal?
I think from my past experience, Jessy, we were the concessionaire, as a concessionaire, the company that I was working for, we were taking militant measures, in fact, to ensure everybody is educated on waste. But unfortunately, I don't see it happening so militant as what it was before. For reasons can vary so much, but I think the militancy must prevail in making sure the education level is hiked up. Because, as I said, the future generations are very important. And tomorrow they are the ones, we are talking about the XYZ generation today, and they are the ones who are going to be working tomorrow, and they are the ones going to have their own families, so they are the ones going to generate waste. But if we are not going to take them up seriously by starting in the schools or even in the kindergartens, we don't think we will be anywhere touching 80% recycling rate or a low generation of waste in this country. I'm not saying it's not possible. I think the approach must be both bottom up and top down, because it's not easy. You just top up. Top down means you're only expecting the government to do no.
It must start at perhaps educational institutions,
yes,
at the house,
yep,
places in which people are regularly spending time, so
right,
that these better understanding rather
right,
than just behavior
yeah,
of these habits and its repercussions can be fully understood.
Right.
Having said that, what kind of special programs are taking place at this point? I know we've all done the 3R program in school. We even did it at, it's even at work sometimes.
Right.
But really, something being done differently if the same messaging is not as effective. Umi?
Okay, there are messages out there. We are calling schools to do it. It is called under PERKIS, which is Pertandingan Kitar Semula for the schools in Malaysia. But those are the school under Kementerian Pendidikan. Now we are trying to encourage with other school under other agency. For example, in Wilayah Persekutuan under JAWI, JAWI Jabatan Agama Islam Wilayah Persekutuan. So they are coming into us for their school to enter into this PERKIS. That's one of the example. And we started the education module of Kitar Semula. We have it in kindergarten, school, sekolah rendah, sekolah menengah also. So it is happening in Malaysia, but we are saying that we need more people to talk about it. Last time I was saying that number one in Malaysia, is not talking about sampah, about kebersihan, about cleanliness of the country, about recycling. But nowadays you can see what our Yang di-Pertuan Agong was saying on the Hari Wilayah 2023. He was saying that Kuala Lumpur has to be the first class city, not second class, not third class. It has to be clean, indah, bersih, sejahtera. That's what he said on the 1st of February last time. And furthermore, for the Ramadan, he was saying that all the Muslim, you want to go forward for this Ramadan and get pahala, good deeds, but then you should not forget that you are wasting on food, on your food.
Right.
So you should not do that. That is partly we got from number one. As part of the thing, we are engaging with JAWI also to do like our khutbah, the Friday khutbah prayers. So they are giving like a topic that they have actually sent it off and talk about Raikan Ramadan, hargai makanan. And the other thing we are doing is a project Pahala Kitar Semula with all the mosques and surau in Wilayah Persekutuan. So it's about 600 of it, but now we are into getting all of it, doing it, but right now it's about less than 10. But it's okay, it's a trial.
It's a start.
I want to do something to make sure it happen. And we also have ad hoc programs of trash to cash. I announce it because I have enforcement people, so they have a KPIs that they have to do it weekly. And they have to call out, make a promotion to the area that they covered.
Right.
So people will come and do it.
And then they are incentivized based on that. Ravi, outside looking in, what would you say are some of the long-term solutions that's possible, perhaps in the next decade?
I think it's very important to look into the circular economy.
Yeah.
Circular economy is about making sure the producer of their product and their packaging is responsible for it.
Right.
You see, we have tried these methods about going into schools, going into the religious institutions. It has benefited, but I don't think the benefits are good. I think, as Umi said just now, I think it has to be a very multiple strategy in making sure it's just not just the SWCorp or just about the concessionaire. I think all of us must get together and get this sorted, because right now we also have another handicap, Jessy, that is not every state in the country is under SWCorp. There are states like Penang, Perak, Kelantan, Terengganu and Selangor. They are on their own, so that means they can do anything they want. So if even Umi is coming up with programs or activities to bring them together, no, it's not. They will not do it because they have their own way of doing things.
Right.
So if we don't have the muscle called law to ensure that the federal government must take a greater...
And the will to see it through as well.
See it through, because otherwise, I will say, if I'm still existing 20 years from now, I'll be saying the same thing.
Okay, in terms
Yeah.
of innovation and technology, you've cited an example like Japan as well, who are very particular about how they handle their waste. How can we leverage to improve our waste management practices here in Malaysia based on the available technology and innovation out there?
Okay, it's based on the available technologies, like we can recycle more plastics with the reverse vending machines. We have it all over in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor, and they had put it, it's a private initiative, and with our collaboration they have put it at the shopping complexes, about 20 plus of it, and then we hope this technology will improve and increase the numbers of reverse vending machine will be put everywhere around the country. But then the cost, it is quite costly. Therefore we have to make sure that the people, because we have an enforcement of law which is Act 672, in which we regulate SARS with our separation at source, that everyone in 7 states or under SWCorp, under the Act of 672, has to separate their waste from the source. So there are 3 types, so they have to do it and put it near to the bin, so that the easiest way of recycling.
It seems to me like there's always the problem of the waste is someone else's problem.
Yeah.
It's a dirty problem.
It's a dirty problem.
How do we
I
address
think
that?
Jessy, you nailed it actually, because we are so profound with this NIMBY, not in my backyard syndrome. It has already evolved and it's become part of Malaysians, so to speak. I think this has happened, or this is happening because we are so used to the comfortable lifestyle that we are enjoying. You see, until and unless we realize that tomorrow is not going to be same as today. Today, I mean, you can see it in the road still now, you can see in the federal highway even. Yeah. You can see mattresses on the side of the road. Right. Today, now, you can see it. But this is what we are talking about, the attitude. The attitude shaping of Malaysians is not going to be easy. But I think there must be stronger approach to bring about change in Malaysians. And of course, education must go with enforcement. But my suggestion, Jessy, is that there must be 4 elements of measures that we must: education, to enforcement. I still remember those days in Wilayah, for the matter, in Putrajaya bus station. The DBKL officers went and penalized, issued summonses to those people who throw litter on the ground. But that all fizzled off. I mean, because the Solid Waste Management Act has come into force. So, but this kind of a fear, I mean, I'm not saying we must use fear technique, but I think sometimes it has to be done so that we have this fear. Right now, nobody, in durian season, you can see durians everywhere, skins,
Yeah.
In rambutan season, you can see rambutans all over the highways, or duku langsar or whatever, because we are so used to that lifestyle. And number 2 is the laws. The federal laws are very critical in ensuring that no state is by themselves. Waste management is not like water. Water can be with the state, but waste management must be with the federal government, so that the federal government and people like Puan Umi can enforce and do things the way they want it.
Sorry to interrupt here, but what motivates SWCorp to really take it up and raise the bar here and really be serious about what it's doing?
Yeah, there are a few things. For example, the recycling rate of the country, it's about 33.17% last year. So we are aiming about 40% in 2025. But for me, it's quite slow. And we are trying very hard to actually push forward for it to increase higher. That's one of the things that I want to motivate. The other, and in addition to that, whatever the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is saying, that he wanted us to be a clean country. And one of the statistic figure that I got in 2020, Malaysia was at number 48 clean country, number 68 with 48% of marks. If we are doing SPM, 48 is a not passing mark for me. We fail a lot. Looking at 68 place, okay, but then looking at the mark, we are not there.
So within our region, what are other countries? How are they faring?
I think the recycling rate in Singapore, if I'm not wrong, is about 59%.
Yes,
Korea is about 49%. And I think Singapore and Korea can do it. I think we in Malaysia can do it better. And the betterness comes only through collective effort of all. And of course the media has an important role to play too. And I'm glad that media is looking into, Bernama is looking into this to make sure the messaging goes to the people. But there's always a but. We can only do this up to a point. It is the change that comes with the people's own mind. They themselves must change to understand that if our rivers are going to be polluted, like for instance, I used to work for a port, a long time ago. You know the river, the Sungai Selangor in Gombak, isn't it? Gombak River and the Sungai Gombak that comes to Port Klang. Evening around 3:30 to 4 or 5, you can see full of rubbish entering into the seas of the Port Klang or the Straits of Malacca. It's horrible. That's actually causing a lot of problem for the shipping companies, because the draft could have been 20 meters down. You need drafts for the ships to come. But because of this pollution that we caused in the whole Klang Valley, the river takes it to the sea, and the sea draft has gone bad. And do you know we spend millions of dollars just digging, or we call it deepening the draft of the sea. And
paint us a grave scenario. What will happen if we have no longer any place to dispose of this garbage? What will happen, Umi?
Chaos.
And so that chaos, and everyone will play on the landfill, on all the garbages. No house can be built anymore because we can't build a house on the landfill if it's not treated. So many bad things will happen, and health will be affected, and so on.
Hygiene, our water level, the water, the leachate that seeps into our water can affect our health.
I guess this is a great reminder that all of these occurrences and the data that we're accumulating, all of it is showing is that it's our own doing. You, me, every
all
single
of us.
person. And with the stats showing that we carry about 1.17 kilogram of waste daily, what are you and I doing about it? How are we disposing of that waste? How are we thinking long term about recycling? And as you said, sorting it at the source. I think all the pointers that you both have shared is a great reminder that we really need to understand and comprehend the importance of waste management. Countless campaigns from the time we're in school right up till now, advertorials in the newspapers. Wishy-washy enforcement and corruption over the years has also contributed to this. Perhaps it'll be interesting to see how this pans out long term when our backs are against the wall at some point. Who will we point the finger at when that time comes? I'm Jessy Chahal. This has been The Nation. Bye for now.